Hi everyone, thanks so much for joining us today. My name is Debbie and I'm on the creative design team at Sizzix, and I'm here today to share with you a fun project using the transportation collection. I'm using our embossing folder, the Cobblestone, and the celebration box, but I've chosen the airplane to do a cute little tag to add to a luggage tag that I'm also going to show you a fun technique how to create this luggage tag using the Holtz tag collection as well as the embossing folder, the Cobblestone. So using the switch machine, I'm going to create this little tag here. It's a cute little tag from the transportation collection, like I said, and I just cut it out in different colors. I also cut out, I cut out the window and the little stripe there and the banner and its little attachment, all out of either our cardstock that was also backed with our adhesive sheet. So the adhesive sheets makes everything that you die cut and sticker. So the good rule of thumb is to completely cover your cardstock on the smooth side with the adhesive sheet. So once you die cut it, especially something intricate like the DAD and also the little pieces here, it'll already be a sticker, so you don't have to fuss with any kind of wet glue. So that's that. And then the technique I want to share with you is what I use to do the tag. So the tag is using the Holtz Sizzix framelit tag. It's a tag collection, and there are 8 individual tag sizes. I just used 2 of the sizes, and I'm going to show you a little kind of a die cutting technique so you can have it in one continuous piece instead of 2 individual tags. You could also do 2 individual tags and adhere it all the way around the side, but just to reinforce the strength and make sure that your address little tag stays secure in there, I just folded it up so I stitched both sides. I don't have a sewing machine here to use, so for the project I'm going to use glue. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how I created this. So with the switch machine, if you're familiar with it, that is our 9-inch opening electronic machine. It has these handles here on the side. They're actually not handles, it's just a little section here that helps you carry it. Nice and sturdy. That's nothing that's going to flop around. And the door here itself, when I go ahead and open it up, I just need to open it and it'll fall into its place. The back door here will open on its own. You don't need to pull that out. It's going to open and shut as you use the machine. So the the cutting pads have a beveled edge only on one side. That's the part that you want to make sure is on top to feed through. And a good way to remember that is when you see the word Sizzix, it's legible. If it's this way, it's backwards. So that's a good rule to remember, that it's legible on the top. Alrighty, so I'm going to take our texture roll. And our texture roll is our effects. It's from our texture. I can't even think of the word. Our texture product line. It has. This one is our 6-inch one, and it's 6 inches by 48 inches, and this is the craft. So it is, all of our texture rolls have a material that's, you can't tear it. You can cut it, you can sew on it, you can ball it up, you can use all sorts of effects on it, but it does not tear, but it cuts beautifully. So let me show you what I did for the tag itself to make the luggage tag. So I'm going to have a cutting pad on the bottom. And then I'm going to take the tag. I just used 2 sizes here. It comes, like I said, it comes with 8. I just used 2. And then this is from the alphanumeric tiny type. I just cut out the word dad. So first I'm going to use this larger one. And it's not the largest one in the set, it's just the larger one. And I'm going to go ahead and cut it. Now I don't want the entire tag to cut. I could do 2 different 2 completely perfect size tags matching up perfectly, but I want to show you how you can elongate it. So I have the cutting pad with the beveled edge going in first. And I'm going to go ahead, and once I push it through, the machine's going to start to take it. So as you can see, I stopped it when it was just partially cut. I didn't want to have a fully, completely cut tag. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to lift this up, and you'll see that it didn't cut it all the way. It just cut it partially. So the next one I'm going to go run it through again. Make sure the word Sizzix is legible, not backwards. And then since it's the same die, I'm going to lay this down inside. Now you can see our framelets have a have the blade around the outside, not the inside. Majority of them do around the outside. So I'm going to be able to fit this in there perfectly. I would also if it wasn't, but I'm going to match this up, the blade against the part that already cut. Just you can feel it hitting at the notch, so it's ready to cut. And I wanted to kind of save my fold, so that, not my fold, I wanted to save the area that didn't cut completely. So I'm going to bring it down as far down as I can. You can just kind of feel it setting in there. Match it up as well as I can and run it through. You always want to make sure that your platform is still visible before you hit the reverse button, the switch, because otherwise it has to. You want to do it before it hits the back sensor. So as you can see, since I stopped it in time, I have the tag image on both sides, but since it didn't cut all the way here, I'm going to go ahead and trim this piece off. Not off, but just trim the, just line up the scissor blades and cut it right along so it'll match up. So that's one tag that's got the holes on both sides. So now I'm going to fold it up. Since it was die cut with the same exact framelit, you know it's going to match up perfectly. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and take my fold and form tool and just score that there on the side. Now what I'm going to do next is I'm going to create this little flap here. And that's what I used, this little flap here. That's what I used this individual tag for. So you'll be able to see a little embossed image there from the opening of the tag, the larger tag. I'm just gonna line that up right there and match it up and have it evenly spaced in the center of the tag that's previously cut. And again, I'm gonna run it through just partially because I don't want to have an opening the shape of a tag. Use my maker's tape just to make sure it doesn't jostle around while I put the other cutting pad on top. And I'm going to run it through also. So you could see that I stopped it before it was going to hit the die cut that was going to be the hole, because I don't want a hole in the center of this luggage tag. So that's that part there like that. I've got this little flap, and I'm going to go ahead and fold it back, and that will be the opening of where the luggage, where the address will be visible. So I just want to fold it back and forth just to give myself a strong fold before I emboss it. Now you always want to make sure you emboss something when it's in its final shape. You don't want to emboss your full sheet and then die cut the window, because it'll still be visible, but the image won't be as strong if you're going to emboss first and then die cut. Now, as you know, with our embossing folders, you want to mist it. So I'm going to mist it away from the camera and away from the switch, because, you know, water and electronics don't go well together. So I'm just going to soft mist it just a little bit with this fine mister. And if you're familiar with our 3D embossing folders, you do not need to have two cutting pads, and you're going to build it on top of this here. So I'm going to make sure that I have it here, centered here, as much as I can. Now I'm going to stop it at a certain point because I don't want to have a strong line right there. And I'm going to go through 3 times, or actually 2 times. There's a lot of pressure on the 3D embossing folders. So I've got that side, and it doesn't matter since it's going to be the back side, but if you can try to find the image that's similar, so it'll kind of match up on the opposite side, then you can have at it. But since it's cobblestone, you know, no two cobbles are identical, so that should be okay. So the opposite side, it won't matter if it doesn't match up because nobody will see that. Make sure the cutting pad are going the correct area. So there we've got it, both sides. And I'm going to go ahead and fold it up like that so it still matches up perfectly. That's good to go. Okay, while that dries, I'm going to ink it after it's dry because I don't want to ink it while the texture roll is still a little damp. So meanwhile, I'm going to show you how I created the airplane. Get these all situated here before I start to load it up. So the beauty about the, not only are they cute, but what I love about the transportation collection is the majority of everything for that actual vehicle or transportation piece is all the pieces you need for that actual item are on the actual blade itself, except for the car and the van. I mean, the truck and the van, because the wheels will be the same for each one. So these are the wheels for the truck and the van, and this is the hubcaps for the truck and the van. Those are the only things that are not connected. So everything you need for the bicycle is right here. Everything you need for the airplane, right here. Everything you need for the helicopter, right there. So you're gonna run it through multiple times just so you can have different colors. So what I like to do is run it through with adhesive sheets a few times, different colors, multiple colors, and then just take it apart, and then you have an assorted set of helicopter blades and embellishments. Same with the hubcaps, just run the whole truck through several times so you'll have different colors. These can be the tops of trees, and that would be the tree trunk, or they can be clouds. Just a little embellished hearts, and then this is a little banner I use. So you can run this through 2 times, and this is a little adhesive. This is a little piece that will attach the banner to the airplane. It's got that little triangle hook. So I'm just gonna do the airplane. That's a fun little set. So the airplane I cut itself out of the texture roll, but this is the silver. So it's craft on one side and silver on the other one. So that's there out the back. So I've got the airplane itself, nothing stuck inside. And if you can see the little pinstripe and the windows, those are embossed. So when you go ahead and lay it down in another color, there's no question as to where it's going to go or which piece goes where. And I like to save this one so I could use it for another time. Say I do a white airplane, the windows can be silver, and the little pinstripe can be silver. So I'm going to save that. Now I'm going to go ahead and cut the same airplane out of the Hollyberry Red. And I have an adhesive sheet on the back so it'll be a sticker. So it's okay that it's cutting off these pieces parts because I'm not going to be using the whole airplane. And at the same time, I'm going to use the banner, cut out the banner. So I'm going to take the banner. Since they're both thinlits, I can do them at the same time. I'm going to lay that down there on there like that. Make sure I have the Sizzix visible and legible. And go ahead. Don't be afraid of the noises. It's just letting you know that the blades are hitting the material and the cutting pads, and it's doing its job. So I've got my banner, and as you can see, when the banner cut out, it also cut out that little piece at the same time. I cut it earlier out of silver, so I'm just going to go ahead and do that so I don't have to cut it again. And these are all the little pieces from the airplane. I do need to cut out the windows. And those are out of a white cardstock with an adhesive sheet on the back. I mean, you could use a glue, works perfectly fine, but it definitely saves time if you've got the adhesive sheets on there because they're such small pieces. I'm just going to reverse it back so because I know I'd already cut the area that I wanted, and it saves a little time. So I've got my windows. Get that other one out of there. Okay, so I'm going to peel off the backing of this red piece. And like I said, it's got that embossed design, so you can see exactly where to position that. So this is already a sticker. And look how much time I saved having that just ready to go and adhered down. Now if I can find my die pick to get out the little pieces here. I guess I'll have to use my finger. Everything seems to disappear when you're crafting quickly, right? And go ahead and put the little airplanes on there. Or sorry, the airplane windows on there. Peel off the backing of the larger windshield so the pilot can see. These are cute little, this could be a cute little card that you want to add to, or a little tag to add to a larger gift. It could be something you just put on the front of the card. I mean, look how cute and look how easy that was. So there's the airplane all ready to go. Let me show you really quickly. Same idea, but the truck and the helicopter, just cut into multiple colors. And how fun is that? Added to a little gift card, and it's ready to add to the gift. So I already cut this in the texture roll silver. So let me go ahead and just adhere that down with some of our express glue. Okay, and then I previously cut the letters for the word dad. You could put, if it's for your uncle or whatever you call your grandpa, you can just spell that out on there. This is such a cute little font. You could elongate the tag too if you want, or you could just make it, oops, wrong side. I guess that's why it wasn't sticking. Or you could just go ahead and just hand cut an additional banner or attach another one to the other side and have the little tails off on the other end, so you could elongate it with one more and just adhere it to the other one. Okay, and I'm just going to take my airplane, put a little adhesive on the back of that. And set that off to the side to dry. The express glue dries pretty quickly, especially since it's going to be against the craft side. It'll dry quick. Still get that over here to dry. And then now that this is dry, I'm finished with my machine, I believe. So I'm just going to ink this up. So I'm going to take some of my distress ink. I'm using the Fired Brick and also the Vintage Photo, the Ranger Distress Ink colors. It just kind of gives it a leathery effect. You could do it any color. You could jazz it up with a little luster wax. This gives it a little distressed, worn-in leather look that's very masculine for the man that you're giving this to. Add a little red to it. Okay, that's all good and set to go. Now I've already pre-cut the address tag that's going to go in there. Just make sure this is nice and folded up well. So what I'm going to do first is I've pre-cut a little piece of acetate. This is actually part of our Biggs die packing. I thought, hey, that's the same thing as acetate, and it works perfectly. So let me trim this down a little bit. It's a little too long. And since, like I said, I don't have a sewing machine in here to use, I'm just going to go ahead and glue this down. Use a hot glue also. And then I'm going to close it up. I'm just not going to close it all the way because you want to be able to slide the address in if address changes or whatever. So I'm going to put that in there like that. Match that up on that side. Like I said, if you wanted to do two completely different tags and have it just stitched or adhered down there at the bottom, you can do that too, instead of doing it how I did it, where I did the folding. So that's just another trick you could do for anything that you create. And then you can go ahead, tuck this in, make sure it's behind the acetate. Cut that a little short, so let me trim the address off. Or not the address, but the excess. So that's there showing through. You can embellish the tag with the transportation too, if you'd like. Instead of adding it to the gift, you can add it to the front of the tag. But it might get jostled around if it's on their briefcase or if it's on a suitcase, unless they check it. You know, something when somebody makes something special for you, you want to take care of it. So they want to make sure that it doesn't get all ripped and torn off if it's a checked bag, but it's cute also on the outside of the gift box. And this will lock it in right inside so the address little tag won't fall out. And there you have it. How fun is that? Cute little technique on how you can cut a die cut with cut a tag without it actually being an individual tag. Not the folding, but just running it through, stopping the machine. Another way you could do it is using our dimensional cutting pad, and that has it has an area where, let me show it to you really quickly. It has an area where you can, where it won't cut. So it has the space here where there's a beveled edge on both sides, and that makes sure that that area where the blade is going will not cut, because there's not going to be any pressure there. The only reason I didn't do it for this one is because the end of that cutting pad was too short, so that's why I stopped the machine. But that's another product that you could use for this tag. But this is such a fun little gift that you can make. Embellish it however you want. You don't have to emboss it, you don't have to ink it, but it's a cute little technique to do. And as I showed you before, it matches perfectly with the little gift bag. The Cobblestone is the same Cobblestone that I used on the flap. I used the Celebration gift box, and instead of using the lacy die cut that comes with it, I just did the actual flap so it would coordinate perfectly with the luggage tag itself. So I hope you've been inspired by this fun little project to create for the dad in your life, whether it's your dad, your stepdad, someone who's like a dad to you, your grandfather or your uncle or a best friend. This is something that I think that they would love to have, whether it's a gift tag or added to the embellished image on a luggage tag. I think they'll absolutely adore it. Thanks so much for joining us, and we'll see you again next time.